Greetings and welcome to a new moon in Pisces card pull. I'm going to use the Prisma Visions Tarot, really pretty navy blue illustrations, because I feel like this is a super deep new moon. Really like navy is what I'm seeing in my mind's eye right now. A lot of things linking together from a deep place within us because of some of like going back into fall, into winter, some of the Scorpio stuff, and now in Pisces. So it's watery and explores the emotional depths, but Pisces brings a much different quality to that. Whereas the Scorpio stuff is more death and rebirth and transformative, and it has something of like a harsher edge to it. Pisces is all about blurry edges and the dreaminess of the depths. And so I feel like there's something happening, starting now. It was 111 when I looked up on this new moon in Pisces that's going to see its completion by the next full moon. But really, by the end of this kind of eclipse gateway portal that we're moving into. And something else that I got before I started this message was like a pancake that's flipping back and forth every day. And the days moving through the energy for the rest of March and for April, most of April, and the first half of April, it's like, what side is it going to end up on? We're going back and forth through a bunch of different things right now as we balance stuff. And so continuing to feed the positive more than the negative, the taking stock of good more than the bad. Like there's this flipping back and forth thing going on with that. Okay, another thing I heard before thinking about doing the reading today was, well, it wasn't really something I heard. It was more of like a montage of seeing art starting from like hieroglyphs, cave paintings, stone tablature, carving, embossing stuff, and then scrolls and the evolution of the written word and different mark making tools like stamps and wax and seals, and sort of this dialing through history and how the origin of art and kind of the intersection between recording, taking record of things, but like symbolizing things, taking things as they're intended. And it's almost like the first person who ever like made a little symbol was like, you know what? I feel like I can't explain it. Let me draw it. And they made us something else. And it's like, we all have, so a lot of art is like storytelling in nature, or it speaks to a spiritual higher truth, or that was the ancient purpose of it, to tell tales and have codes and understandings of what the world was. And what was beyond the world and incapable of being talked about and communicated about. And so I was thinking about how it's like everybody has their own lens. We all do have and live with creative energy. It's just that it's something that I think is squandered away. I think a lot of us naturally want to protect the ways that we use and express our creative energy and kind of like fight for it in the schedule of our daily lives, right? Or like want to express that energy in the ways that come naturally to us. Like we have hobbies and passions already, but a lot of people don't, because I think that makes me think of a meme that I continue to see. It just continues to resurface, but it's like, when did certain creative pursuits like art and music and this and that only become available, or they're only for the people who are good at them or professional at them? They're more about what they do for you and your energy. And so there's something like with a human's creative energy, it's always going somewhere. It's always going to something. And if you're not choosing what you're spending it on and engaging in your, day in, day out 3D physical world, how you're moving that energy, if you're not conscious about that, then it is sort of being unconsciously spent. And that's the notion of leaking energy, or not being conscious of like how you're spending your energy. So yeah, I don't know. Basically, it was sort of a vision about people's ways of life and choices sort of being like an artist's choice when they choose to communicate about a certain idea in a certain series of visual languages. We're all capable of, I don't know. It does tie into a message that I said in a reading maybe like 2 weeks ago. But just recognizing it's sort of a namaste principle. It's like we're all just doing our best. The divine in me bows down to the divine in you. But like seeing people alongside you in the world, acquaintances or family or distant strangers or whoever, whatever level of familiarity you have with them, they're just fellow creators, whether or not they're emboldened and awakened to their own potential and ability and true like power within that role. That's them. That's their path. And I think the source of actually a lot of people's frustration at one another is the way that they're like spending that creative role. Like a lot of people have a lot of things to say about how other people live their lives. And so something about reclaiming a sense of empowerment within our own understanding of how that applies to us, but also a softening around letting other people discover that for themselves. And like understanding just the softening again of like placement of what it means to be in a collective and evolve alongside other people and like support and witness other people expand their energy in ways that is different from yours, and then you being protected in your own self to go in a different way that you're led to go in, even if no one else is going that way, like go out on your own road to find what it is that makes you expand in the way that you're being led to. I think that a lot of people are scared to go out and try things that are like not just different from what they've done in the past, but different from what they're seeing other people do. And then on the other hand, some people like only look for things that no one else is doing because they're trying to it's not pursuing things based on like the pull and the draw of the interest, but the like intent of being different and separating yourself on purpose. And I feel like that always caves in on itself, because if you truly follow what it is you want and like to do with your creative energy, knowing that the smoke was curling in a really beautiful way here. I don't know if the camera picks that up. It always does, but yeah, I think, the best path for anybody is the one that nobody else has access to, except for the blueprint that's inside of you when you truly connect with all of the things. Just like I've said, probably not for a long time, but I think like one of the most important things to living a happy life, like not getting caught in between the strangeness of trying to connect to spiritual, moral, ethical truths in life, living a good life, having principles and standards and all of that, but also just acknowledging that this is a material world and you can't escape that or avoid that, and you shouldn't feel like it's things are very both and. You can create whatever you want. You can create stability for yourself and enjoy the things that you have without being gluttonous and hoarding wealth and resources and living like way beyond your means, right? It's there are ways to, because of the fact that abundance is not limited, right? And that that's an illusion, and that we like point fingers at other people out of lack mentality. And really, there's nothing that says that other people's success and abundance negates our own potential to have that. And yet there are still, you know, like abuses of power, I think, and abundance and stuff. But I'm trying to focus a lot less on that. All of that. Yeah, okay, wait. Clary sage oil is what I was drawn to today, by the way. I needed today just for myself. I don't think I've had a full complete day off from anything for like 6 days. And so I've just been enjoying today and everything and all the energy that comes with a Pisces new moon and where we're at in the cycles right now and what's to come. It's just a really good day to kind of take a beat and take stock of things and relax. Just relax. So I'm going to be using the Prisma Visions cards. I feel like I just left that whole loop open-ended, but I'm sure I'll kind of hop back into it because I'm just setting the tone of the reading. I'm going to get, if you have questions, I'm going to take Angel Answer Oracle cards at the end of the reading. And I'm going to keep this pretty short, believe it or not. So here's the current energy today. And then right next to it, I'm going to get biggest sticking point and the hidden energy. Ooh, current energy is the Two of Cups. The biggest sticking point is the Devil. The hidden energy is the Nine of Swords. And now I'm going to go right down the line and get the same, but from my other deck. So current energy, clarifying Two of Cups, is the Moon. Lovely. Clarifying biggest sticking point, the Devil. Page of Wands. Clarifying the hidden energy with the Nine of Swords is the Ten of Pentacles. Interesting. Energy to embrace is the Knight of Wands. Energy to release is the Ace of Wands. I'm not really sure I can... Okay, all right. This is interesting. Energy to embrace, energy to release. Okay, that's too much to get into. I can't get too far ahead of myself. Let's just talk about this and walk right through it. So there's some type of, like, when I feel and see this card as the current energy, the energy of this kind of like I heard the word plunge, and it's like, have you ever seen a slow motion clip of a polar bear, but it's filmed from underneath? So it's like the water breaking and you see its like form and like those really big paws that polar bears have when they move through, like, you know, the ice and stuff, and there's like bubbles going through like the polar bear fur. I'm just getting a really like vivid visual about that. But this Pisces full moon energy is like a plunging feeling, but it's into this peaceful, harmonious place. Energy that is symbolized by Two of Cups energy. It's balance, it's love, and it feels good. And so it's like this like space of finding a little bit of a stability on some type of seesaw that's been moving. And the moon is clarifying it. So there's something, again, just like Pisces, like dreamy, intuitive, unseen. I'd like to clarify it by shuffling out a card from here. The current energy. Two of Cups and the moon. Okay, so 4 cards came out to clarify. It's the High Priestess, which connects to the reading from yesterday. 2 of Cups. The King of Pentacles. The 8 of Swords. And the 3 of Swords. So the clarification is sort of bringing back in some of the storylines from like some ongoing things that have been coming up in the readings that I've been pulling for the collective energies around trying to create a new way to relate to stability by like feeling different about yourself, about every moment, creating a different type of dialogue, like very literally when you train your thoughts, right? The nature of neuroplasticity is that if you do things, even thoughts, so it's like musical training, learning an instrument, if you're repeating these neural pathways and exposing yourself to something repeatedly, it will change the way you think, and then it will change the way you act. And we've been in this very long process of removing some of the stuck ways that we've enacted behavior, scripts running on autopilot that formed in a hurt way. So we've been doing healing to unstuck, to unstick, and unwrite certain hurt ways of being. There's a scale for that too. It could be deeply wounded behaviors that are damaging to others, or it could just be little things that you want to tweak, right? But that could still be the same thing. It's been a purification of the higher self and the ability to anchor in more truth within your vessel and understand yourself and operate yourself and your life in a different way, a more conscious way. That's the current energy. So it's really nice. I mean, I like that a lot. I think that how much you like a moon like this and the energy that's going to be, I think that people who are not water signs or have Pisces placements might feel just like a little drunk or a little drowned in it. I like it. I like put on my like scuba gear really and go into like deeply reflective modes because it's like we're all submersed in these thoughtful spaces automatically. So it's sort of fun for me. I think just the kind of, again, that word purification that we can undergo right now is really powerful. So maximize it, like move slowly, be careful and gentle with yourself and your intention and like how you're sitting with yourself right now and who you're speaking to and how you're giving to yourself, your energy levels. Like don't have the most time lately to slow down and really like care for myself. So today is that day and it feels so good. Okay. So I'm going to leave that little bundle there. All of those cards. I like, for some reason, want all that energy to be together there. The Devil and the Page of Wands is the biggest sticking point right now. And I'm going to take from the bottom of the deck to clarify that. It's the Hierophant. Yeah, so the Hierophant's been coming out from the other deck in the past few readings that I've been doing. It's interesting. The Hierophant is sort of depicted like a Baphomet in this deck, whereas the Devil is not personified whatsoever. It's just a series of trees with like fall leaves, and there's a snake slithering on the ground. But it's just a very different way of seeing these two energies in conversation with each other. And I feel as if there's like the sticking point. There's been a few transitions, smaller subset cycles. Like if you see, I'm going to draw it. I'll try to go quickly because the problem with this is that I lose my train of thought, or the channeling gets derailed because I get I don't know, distracted, and markers, and like, I just have to be able to keep going. Oops. Okay. Okay. It's really just squiggles that I needed. But a certain kind of squiggle. I'm irritated that I chose to draw it like this. This isn't right. This isn't useful, and it's not as attractive as it could be as far as spirals and geometries. But what I saw in my mind's eye was a combination of different cloud formations, patterns that can emerge in clouds where you look up at the sky and you're like, it looks like like sand, or like the sea, you know, these ripples in the shallows, the same kinds of patterns with elemental energies that move like the wind currents, the same as the water currents. It's why, like with the smoke earlier, when I was like, ooh, it made a cool thing, you know, even the curly candle in the background. It's the same patterns. And so there's been these little clicking moments within the curls of the last year with these different cycles, having to do with commitment to self and the balancing of polarity. But I like it because it's really gender neutral, like the Hierophant and the Devil. It's not gender neutral, but it's affecting the collective because it's an inside out thing. It's a like Two of Cups, right? I mean, all of this is interesting because it's all about the inner self, but it's equally about the world around us and the people around us and our connections and stuff. But this is one of those readings, and this is one of those parts of the energy shifts that's been unwinding that I do think is really truly affecting all people in different ways. And because we all have different predispositions and relationships to our own healing and awareness and stuff, it really is just like this infinite thing. But anyway, little clicks around understanding how we can move away from self-sabotage in any form. Really, we like the way it feels to be balanced and on our own team, because only then can you formulate a healthy team with, like, say, another. And this goes for the types of partnerships that are platonic and collaborative, or like creative, or like business, or loving partnerships for romantic fulfillment and all the other kinds of fulfillment. And so I think this just has to go back. It's like timeline hopping. It's like fulfillment. It's like the people who are activated and interested in realizing it's not really, it's just, right, just different inevitable levels and layers of ceilings that we crash into whenever our life guides us to crash into them, where we then are operating in a new way, realizing things in a different way. And only then do we realize that we want to change something and clear something out, because that's when we've decided to do it. But if this is the sticking point, it's like we've caught up with this one a few times, whatever it is, around like King of Pentacles, again, like really being able to bring in a groundedness within ourselves, how we treat ourselves and our commitments, you know, take things seriously within like what we say we're going to do versus what we really do, you know. And the energy to embrace is the Knight of Wands. So I mean, sticking point, Page of Wands was with this. I think, I mean, just going along with this again, like these natural cycles, like the smoke
spiraling through time, all of these months kind of link up like that. And again, takes me back to
this flipping flapjack pancake analogy where it's like, really, that's why it really behooves us the most to just be like, you know what, I let it go. I'm going to be calm today. I'm going to be the best I can be. It's because that's the truth of like the moment, you know, you're honoring the moment. In a meditative way, but when I get too overwhelmed, I do this exercise like I'm a goldfish or somebody who has amnesia and I've been smacked on the head. And it's like, I'm born anew in this moment. Whatever, my mind is empty. If I'm with people, I'm receptive to what it is they're going to bring into the space. They could say or do anything. I will be present for that. I'm not hung up on anything. I'm just always yielding to what's coming because it keeps you really connected. And so if we're embracing the Knight of Wands, and I like this because the vines on this card, these light tendrils that are sort of wrapping around him and taking him away, that for me is mimicking this spiral motion where it's like, let yourself be taken with almost like mini Wheel of Fortunes too. This is really cute. It's actually just super weird visual. It was a belt. It was like almost like a targeted Instagram ad that I was seeing for like a belt that was made out of individual gold medallions, but all of them were individual Wheel of Fortunes and they were spinning and the model was like tightening it one notch. So yeah, it's a very interesting visual to interpret because think about it, like tightening a notch on a belt could be seen as like progress if a person was like on a fitness journey or something. But these different decorative discs, it's like helping us acknowledge that cycles just come and go, you know, and seeing them from the eyes of like, say, how nature witnesses its own cycles. And that little video of that little girl from the internet crying about the leaves falling off the trees is coming back into my mind because she had such an emotional connection to that. And her dad was like, it's fine. It's a neutral thing because the leaves will be reborn. But if the sticking point, this Page of Wands is like this unequipped, ill-equipped, nervous energy or beginner's energy that's not necessarily rolling with the punches, again, with like just this motion, like curly cues and spiraling and allowing things to unfold in a really natural way. It's the energy to embrace right now. So and the Knight of Wands being like a step up from Page of Wands, having more momentum, being out of a phase of more like ideation or preparatory consideration. So that's what I'm getting with the sticking point, is that it really has to do with acknowledging that in order to be in a place that's a little bit more like clear and balanced, we have to fully acknowledge, you know, bring out of the moonlight. Where's the moon card? I put all of this in here. Yeah. High Priestess. There's been so much purging of these deep subconscious things where it's like, how have our wounds been keeping us stuck and therefore keeping us from achieving our full potential? That's a really hard thing to acknowledge, and a lot of people will go their whole lives with their ego not allowing them to go there. That's not a journey for everybody, I think. But it's also a journey that has to happen pretty regularly. I think you get better at doing it and you realize that the fact that you're doing it at all doesn't say anything about you, right? It's just a human thinking about the human's own journey, you know, and like collapsing and rebuilding in a way that goes about it with more flow, and it doesn't actually really derail you to do that. You become a little bit more fluid at navigating whatever it is, new hurt, so that it doesn't get stuck and compounded or projected. Okay. I'm going to talk about this, but I want to talk about this first, the Ace of Wands. Actually, no, my guides just corrected me. I will talk about that next, and I'll save this. But in general, this is like really realizing the strength of having Hierophant, High Priestess, balanced higher self, and conscious mind, feedback loop, and like honesty really with your own. There's just so much patternistic information available, right? Like I think some of the beauty of the last few cycles, since the last time we had back-to-back eclipses like this, back in April, was it a year ago? Whatever for now. Like I'll look into that, but the beauty of it is that it's become very easy to see certain patterns and make really transformative changes very quickly, right? You just have to be understanding enough of how things work, right? And that the structure of the universe, you can't change. It's going to spiral. It's going to spiral. But that doesn't mean, like, what kind of spiral are you on, right? Do you recognize your own cycles? Do you recognize how something actually changes when, do you recognize what successfully changed stuff looks like? Because if you don't, then you won't get any momentum. And that in itself is also a form of self-sabotage, failing to see how, how you have a lot more ability to change your own circumstance than you think. I'm not going to talk about that too much more, but the hidden energy, it's a pretty good segue actually, because I'm saying like you have more ability to change the things that you don't like than you think. And it's this goose again, who's like predatory goose, fangs goose, and the person standing up against it. And then the other Nine of Swords card is like a girl being woken from a nightmare and all of the projections from her nightmares and these fictional like ghosts that are pointing at her and reaching for her. It's like that's what haunts her, but it's not real, but it is real. She was in a different realm with her consciousness in a dream space where that is what was troubling her, coming out of her psyche to be acknowledged. And she's facing that when she's like burying her face in her hands. And so this depiction is different. It's a different kind of facing fears. And then we have 10 of Pentacles. This is the hidden energy. So immediately the intuitive message, just kind of jumping off from like this big long lesson about self-sabotage and like truly clearing out really, really nice ability with like the depths of the Pisces energy, Pisces new moon. I feel like holding all of the, like we're able to sink into this deep space with our own emotions and like not let it be overwhelming or too much, and see all these different patterns or whatever, all these different things that we have going on, and actually be able to hold them and feel okay with that. And do the acknowledging that needs to be acknowledged, but not be afraid of our true stability, right? Because there's like this childlike, worrisome and fear around doing things differently or putting ourselves into any type of compromised position, even if it could promise a better situation, for fear of failure, rejection, and not being successful in one way or another. The less trodden path, or the path of expansion that chooses to continue advancing and like committing to new growth. Again, the Hierophant can be that higher wisdom, learning, knowledge, expansion in that way. And I also just heard striving for excellence. Striving for excellence is sort of this, like, I get a lot of markety slogans popping into my head. Like, imagine, it's funny. Like, I think I would probably hear that as, like, the slogan from, like, a mechanic or a tire change, like, who knows? I'm just seeing all these advertisements, but you probably wouldn't sit down with a couple and, like, they're entering a therapy session and the person says, like, what do you want to achieve out of your like marriage, and they're like, we're just striving for excellence here. Like it's not so much associated with personal things like that. It's more so this academic, career-based, work ethic oriented concept. But there's something that we're kind of holding and accepting, I think. This could be pretty, subconscious. It could not resonate with all the people that listen to this, but it's in the collective energies. It's what I'm picking up on. It has to do with holding and realizing, again, what I said before, like not replicating other things, because that's never going to make you as happy as what it's going to take out of you to sit in a place that's only reflecting your own patterns, to kind of like crack your own code to your own little yellow brick road that's like the epitome of your own, like, could be called highest timeline, your personal happiness. No one else has the keys to that. I think there's a ton of messages in there, a ton of messages. There's no way I could have possibly just gotten all that out. And I believe I skipped over a bunch of important parts, but that's okay, I think. So I'll just keep going. With this being in the hidden energy, I'm going to shuffle out a clarifier, but it's going to come from this deck. 10 of Pentacles and the 9 of Swords. We're facing, I really wanted to flip, facing a fear of failure, right? Because that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Fear is the thing that keeps you paralyzed and from changing circumstances or acting in new ways. And so you do prove to yourself that you're not meant to advance or go in a new direction or have a new opportunity, because you don't do what's needed of you to put yourself into the, into the situations that will gain you access to those things. I'm not saying that there's contingencies where you have to move in a certain way in order to get a certain thing. But if you think about stagnancy and flow in the universe, then what we do know is when you do act a certain way, you do get a certain result. All right, well, that was too much. I'm going to take the first two because they came out first. And they are 10 of Cups and the Knight of Wands again. So fast forward movement in motion, and it's come out 2 times. That's a double affirmative around the hidden energy of like just a full trust, right? Because we've got both levels of full stability, emotional stability, and one of my ongoing prayers and affirmations is that I become so blessed, so abundant, so just like fortified in all of my things and secure in every way that I aspire to be, more and more regularly until it's perfectly consistent and ever evolving. I want to become that way so much that I naturally bless every person around me and, create miracles for other people, and that it's very easy for me to share in like the really good things that come my way as a result of everything that I'm doing and putting out into the world. It's easy for people to be a part of that and benefit from it. And it's at no cost to me, right? Creating beautiful things and experiences for other people fuels me, and it's just good for everybody. I say a lot of prayer in that way. And again, I know like I'm just going to talk about my grandfather until I don't do it anymore, because I'm still processing his passing. It wasn't very long ago, but I see him as somebody who wanted to do that, just to create good things so that everyone around him could enjoy that too. And I feel like with these clarifiers coming out, it's like, again, with like, the smoke, the loops, the way that we can't pause time. With the Knight of Wands, I think that there's just there's going to be a lot of watching ourselves do things, proving ourselves right if we choose to believe that we can handle certain things and move in new ways and do things in new ways, and that we're worthy of believing in the reality that we, like, you know, can align with. Because a lot of the times, like, whether or not you think you can, you're right. Whether or not this or that, you're right? You're very much open to buying into whichever narratives help you feel supported. And a lot of the times people are, they're wanting to, I don't want to go there right now, so we're not going to, but 10 of Pentacles, 10 of Cups, being able, like, I see the act of facing the fear as being the comfort of kind of the depths of Pisces season, allowing us to take all of the things that feel scary and fearful that have previously been too much for us to kind of work with and alchemize because of things being either too enmeshed in the subconscious to really be made sense of and like parsed out and unknotted and detangled. Or there was still some type of like ego thing going on where there wasn't like any, who knows, you know, like our functional habits. What am I doing? I'm packing up all the cards for some reason. I'm going to leave these out, but I'm going to take this deck and I'm going to wrap up soon. Going to do the angel answers, like I said. I'm drinking tons of lemon water, cucumber water. I love it. It's so clarifying. I'm aware of how easy I am to make fun of. Can I just say that? I hope that everybody's doing well. I do know for a fact that there's just really intense, challenging transits going on right now. And I think that a lot of people are suffering and struggling. And I think that a lot of people are doing that quietly. And I think that it's okay to just like reach out to people. If anybody's really struggling with anything and needs somebody to vent to, you're always welcome to email me. It's wordsmithoftheimperial@gmail.com. But there's just a lot of like collective pain and overwhelm being processed right now, and everybody's reasons for that are different at the moment. I mean, there's strings and themes and a lot of different stuff based on the astrology and stuff going on in the world. But in general, I hope that people are hanging in there. And again, thinking about like every day is just this quantum pancake spinning like a coin that's gonna pick a side, heads or tails. So if that's every second, then, you know, it's like showing up to the polls. Like every single second though, choose to be contributing in a positive way, whatever that means for you. Like sometimes that could mean for you, like taking a second to step away from something and like taking a lot of deep breaths so that you can continue to be somebody who doesn't make a situation worse. You know, there's always a way to choose better, even if you're not like, hey, God, like it's not like that. We all have our own ability to just be respectful, responsible, energetic humans who are aware of the fact that life is intense and we never know what people around us are going through. And yeah, it's just completely free to be kind. Look, the Two of Cups is here again. So I don't know why I shuffled so much. What are we doing? Okay, I'm going to pull 3 off the top. incoming energy, what it's going to be useful to know, and like the biggest cautionary message. Incoming, Lovers, useful to know, Two of Wands. Cautionary message, the Seven of Wands. Interesting. Yeah, okay, so just going back to the beginning of the reading, saying that the Two of Cups was our current energy. I see the Lovers as like a major arcana expression of that in some ways, like pure, a more stable attainment of like a yin-yang balance within the self, and just like a harmonious existence. So what it would be helpful to know with that with these spirals, again, by the way, like I kind of find like there's so many dreams right now, there's so many messages right now. I've moved into a very detached space so that I don't get overwhelmed, like meditative space, just like allowing things that I think about and remember to be there, and things that I just like unplug when I want to. I'm just vibing. I'm in a relaxed space because that's what I deserve and that's what I want today. And I've been busy, you know. I'm allowed to just shut the world off and be in a relaxed space, but the energy's moving so fast, and it makes like I've been stuttering and like when I try to keep up, you know. But it's like what's going to be helpful to know about that? Again, Two of Wands is making me feel that it's a choice. It's like it's not, there's like this paradoxy, caveat-y thing going on, because your ego you're like with the language around spiritual stuff, with like manifestation, and like how all these videos on YouTube end up being really clickbaity, with like people who are unwilling to do the healing just being like, I'm gonna say the title says something like, you're gonna become a millionaire tomorrow, and the videos about this and that. It's like anything, if you're gonna go rest your laurels on something that you're not doing the work for, then that message might not be for you, and that type of thing, which is why it gets challenging to provide collective energy messages for anybody on the internet. But it is an industry and a very entertaining and fun thing to get into, you know. I digress, but I'm feeling like there's a reminder here. I said the incoming, and we get the Lovers, and it's kind of like this umbrella, like branching upwards into the major arcana expression of balance and harmony. And what would be helpful to know about that is that you can still look out, you know, out into a new land where you haven't been before, out of your comfort zone, and realize that there are choices to be made and paths to be taken or not. And every single day you're ascending into, you know, your version of a more stable self and way of like life. Like it will touch everything you do. It's inside work, consciousness work, and kind of just like your methods of perception and slowing down, but it will touch and affect everything that you do. And then the cautionary message with that is the Seven of Wands. Cut the deck to clarify. Yeah, don't be a fighter, be a lover. It's the Queen of Cups. Cautionary message. I want another clarifier from the bottom of the deck with that. The Two of Cups. I knew that was there. I just didn't remember. So, yeah. I mean, remembering to truly just stay in balance and come from the heart. You know, because the things that are meant for you, you don't have to fight for things to stay the same or stay with you or stay any type of way, right? Fighting or feeding, just release it. And I'm also just getting some message about the fact that a lot of people will do anything, you know. There's a lot of toxic relationship styles where they're like, they want, like, just hearing people be like, so you're not going to fight for this relationship? So you're not going to fight for it? And that comes from both men and women, and hetero or not, whatever, all different kinds of people. it's just a human nature thing, right? That guilt trippy manipulation of like, sometimes a person doesn't want to fight for something because the other person's version of fighting for it is continuing to engage in certain drama cycles that are meeting a need within that person. This is actually how Chelsea was from Love is Blind. Jimmy and Chelsea were a very interesting couple because Chelsea, I mean, I could say positive and critical things about both of them. They have some independent work to do, as we all do. But she had very evident certain thinking patterns that prevented her, you know, from even herself wanting to have a drama, you know, she was not able to engage with him without starting certain loops that were very avoidable, warping the truth for her own perception too, you know? And so when a person chooses peace, it doesn't mean that they're giving up on something and not trying. It means that they're choosing peace. And it looks the way that it looks, and sometimes that upsets people. And of course, there's ways to go about it and everything, but I don't really know where I was going with that, and I really have to pee, and it's time for me to go. Oh, you know what? Nope. The angel messages, and then also I'm going to record a short for relationship messages because there's a lot of nice kind of like balanced. You know what this is too, just as a final lasting note? All right. I'm going to do the angel. I'm going to pull. You can do pick a card, okay? Pile 1, 2, or 3. You're going to get an answer to a yes or no question from this deck. But I feel like there's like, it's probably this time of year for the next few months, a nice time of year for people to start new endeavors in love and relationships. So I want to do a quick short about love and relationship messages. It's like all these other cycles have been a lot about the self and like inner work and like journeys, and then we can kind of emerge in a new way for the sake of partnership, which is always beautiful. Okay, so again, you can have one question or inquiry be answered by all 3 cards. You can pick a card or pile to answer your question. Here we go. Number 1, improving health is the answer. Improving health is the answer. I'm not going to interpret these too much. Okay, pile 2. The answer is there's something better. There's something better. So if you ask like a yes or no question, it could be a no because there's something better, or it could be yes and there's something better. Who knows? Again, you have to use your intuition for these. This one's pretty cut and dry though. The answer 3 is no. 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 Could be not right now. So enjoy the dreamy Pisces moon vibes. We've got some much more active transits picking up. And I cannot emphasize, as always, how important it is to just like scrub your skin and detox your body and drink a lot of water and eat intuitively. Don't just, you know, really key into your hunger cues. Don't just stuff your body full of food because you want to eat 3 meals a day that are spaced out by so many hours. Maybe you're not really hungry, and that's okay, you know? And maybe you want something that people typically only eat at breakfast, but you want it at night. All of that is to be like super duper honored right now, because that's your body saying like, you know what's in that thing that you're craving, the exact chemical molecular structure of what we're lacking inside to continue to be in balance. Of course, unless we have these things that we're addicted to, that are not good for us, which a lot of us do. So that's its own thing. If anybody would like to get a reading from me or book a session with me, please email me. I'd be happy to book one. I'm going to be booking them a little bit out, as in starting in April again. So if you want to do a reading, you can go look at my website to see what kinds of readings I do. But honestly, it's super, super open-ended, and I've done different kinds whenever there's like a need. If you bring something to the table, we can figure out a really good way to use my skill set to get you some value out of having a session. So just sending out some good energy to everybody. Know that you're protected. Okay. Bye-bye.